Morning to all my followers on YouTube. Hope everybody is starting this Monday off well and your family and loved ones are well also. This is going to be a tribute to the breeder James Edwards, and he was notably known for the Grand Champion Molly B. James Edwards is one of the most hospitable, friendliest, and thoughtful breeders of today. This little tribute gives him some of the credit he very well deserves. For many years before James started breeding pit bulls, he bred champion foxhounds for field trials. With this knowledge in breeding, gave him an understanding that with the right line, characteristics, and style, he could create the ultimate combat dog. James turned to Haley's Big Boy, a big solid black dog and a cousin to the famous Grand Champion Zebo dog. Big Boy was an exceptional athlete itself and moved with the grace of a large jungle cat. He had a very unusual characteristic to find the weakness in any dog's combat pattern and could very easily destroy him, but wouldn't scratch. Although he was fought country style, no scratches, just turn two dogs loose and the better dog survives. He fought for over 5 years and was undefeated out of countless matches. James said he would recreate Big Boy, and he did 2 generations later when he bred his Nellie Jeep, a daughter of Big Boy, to Stevenson's Big Ben, a Brugeot LaPasse cross. 7 coal black pups were born on the morning of January 6, 1976, and one of these would be called Molly B. She was the first to venture out of the whelping box and showed all the signs of a good dog. She was strong, intelligent, energetic, and had a good conformation. Molly and her brother Horse, Eli, rode in the back of James' pickup and would even eat with the family cat. Shortly after her first birthday, she was bred to Wood Snooty. James said he bred to Snooty for ability, not gameness. She whelped 7 pups. 2 well-known out of this litter were Hargrove's Red Danger and Brewer's Red Lady. After this breeding, she was sold to Hargrove for $200 with a money-back guarantee that he will buy her back if Hargrove was not fully satisfied. Hargrove started schooling Molly on a 100-pound Ridgeback / pit bull named Rusty. And I would guess the Ridgeback is the breed, the Rosenden Ridgeback, that have the hair that goes in the opposite direction across the back. They said they used that breed back in the days to hunt lion. So Molly was, they schooled her on a Rosenden Ridgeback pit bull cross. And the name was Rusty. This show was to be quite effective because she couldn't get him on his back for his size. And now, as another side note, this is a male against a female. Molly B won her first 2 matches and set up to have pups from Finley's Bow. After her break, she won 4 more and was into a dog owned by a brewer. He said he had the right dog to beat Molly and will easily destroy her or leave her where she would never be used again. Brewer's dog shoots under Molly and gets a good leg hold. Molly tries to get her out by the muzzle, but when she did, jawbone and teeth went flying everywhere. Brewer shouts frantically, "Stop the match." She would later be sold to Bass, where she continued her career. Molly's longest match went 19 minutes when she got a bleeder and slowed her down a bit. Her hardest went 13 minutes against a two-time winner from Dee Whitley, who had taken out both her opponents quick. Molly was never scratched into, not even once. At one of her shows, a guy traveled 19 hours, drove all night and half of the day to see the famous Molly B, and it ended up somewhere in Louisiana. He said after the dogs were washed and raised that as they brought Molly to Pittside, he turned and walked to the back of the crowd to get his sandwich. He got his sandwich and fixings, turned around, and went back to the match was over. That sound like something, Molly B sound like something back in the days when Mike Tyson was on his reign. You had to be there because, Mike put one out quick. Mike Tyson, Molly B was later stolen off of Bass's yard and never recovered. James has clearly made a great breeding contribution to our fraternity with his Molly B dog and one of the best bitches in the 1970s. I had a pleasure to sit and talk with Mr. Edwards, and this is what he had to say. These dogs are only flesh and blood. Many dogmen do not give their dogs enough time to mature and expect too much out of them at an early age. As a consequence, these animals are neglected where they should be given the love and attention of a family pet. As you can see through the years of dogs like Molly B, Champion Sadie, Solid Junk, and those that have done so well for my bloodline were those I bred and raised myself and sold as adults. It was also said that Mr. Edwards was more of a breeder. His brother was more of a dog man. And, Mr. Edwards would breed a female to two different males in one breeding. There was an older fella who was doing dogs back then who told of a story of a hand-picked mouth fighting bitch that was hand-picked for to go against Molly B. And he said the dogs were weighed and washed, brought to the pit, and on the command of release your dogs, Mr. Edwards was just making his way to pit side. But before he got there, he heard a crack, which he said sounded like a 22. And when he leaned over the pit wall, that dog that, with that mouth style was no more. Molly B done finished her off, and Mr. Edwards said, "This was the only match I ever missed to Molly B." Thanks for stopping by the Hellcat Dogman channel. This is for pure historical purposes only. Here go a bonus feature that I'm gonna put in here, and this one is called Selecting a Stud Dog. Before making your selection of a stud dog, you want to consider the first things of importance. First, you should make inquiries from leadings. When you have found a dog that suits you, be sure he is registered or eligible for registration, because you will find that the services for your stud dog will become more in demand when it's known he is registered. In the selection of a dog for stud purposes, it is advisable to buy one that's at least 1 year old and not older than 5 years old. The best years of a dog are within that time. As the dog gets older, he usually loses his vigor and stamina. This is because the breed has to be kept on a chain or a pin and are not given regular proper exercise, which is so important for their purpose. One of the most important things to consider before buying the stud dog is that he is free from faults. Be sure that he is not undershot, cowhot, legged, or has any defects. He should be well proportioned and have an even bite strong punishing jaw, and not too racy in build. Whether the dog is to be in public, it is to be advisable to get one that conforms within the standard as much as possible. A stud dog requires lots of exercise and should not be kept too fat. His diet should be meat, and occasionally he can be fed a dog biscuit or a can of the dog food. I have found that if the dog's meal is prepared in different ways, he will assume a hearty appetite, which is essential to his good health. He can be fed raw meat cut into strips 3 or 4 times a week. The balance of the week, he can have meat cooked up with fresh vegetables. Be careful not to add starchy ingredients to the cooked meal, such as potatoes, cornmeal, rolled oats, bread. Too much starch is not good for a dog. Before closing on the subject of a stud dog, it might be well to remember to buy, if possible, a dog whose ancestors were noted for their gameness and pit records. Should you ever advertise them as stud to the public, the information makes excellent material to create a desire to use your dog for stud services.